and welcome to the final episode of Subjectively Correct, a podcast where usually we pull a random theme or subject to present matching films to each other and discuss them. My name is Matt, and I'm with my friend Josh.
Hello.
As this is the finale of this project, at least for the foreseeable future, we are deviating from the usual format. We have not pulled a random subject. Today's gonna be a dealer's choice kind of thing, where we just picked a film to show each other with no limitations or rules attached. And I think we both probably have like some concrete reasons why we pulled these films, which I'm interested to hear. That's maybe more than just I like this film, I assume.
Definitely.
So I don't know if we want to go straight into the films or if we want to reminisce about something or if we want to keep that for the ending.
Well, we could reminisce a little at the beginning, I guess. Nothing wrong with that.
It is a bit crazy to me that it's been 2 actual full years. We recorded the pilot episode like December 2023. It's 2 years now. I'm pretty proud of our fucking yapping for 2 years. It's been pretty good.
And I think we've got some, if anyone's looking for some films to watch or like new things to try out, I think we've got a pretty damn good list of stuff to try, even if it's not, everyone's cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah.
And we haven't even liked all of them or whatever. But I think that pretty much almost every film we've had, except for last week's, has been really like worthwhile and worthy of, looking at and at least trying and going, oh, that exists. Okay, cool.
Sure. And and we got a lot of like diversity in there. Like this was the one of the whole like premises of the show. There were a lot of films here that I would never have watched otherwise, which I appreciate. And some of them have like become some of my favorites as well.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely been some bangers like that you've brought that I've really got into.
I'm glad to hear that after all the disappointments that I put you through.
I mean, of the films you hadn't seen before, like the ones that I exposed you to, what are some of your like most memorable / favorites?
I do believe Rebecca is one of them because that is one of those things that on paper would not draw me in at all, but actually having seen it and seeing the craft behind it, and your additional context of the gothic genre, that actually that is a thing that I thought about afterwards quite a bit as well. That stuck with me, yeah. As any of my picks had any sort of.
I mean, we can start from the very beginning. Like 1982 is The Thing,
right?
What a movie! Like I think that's probably one of, if not my favorite ones that I've seen in this, time. Just because, it's just so excellent for kind of the similar reasons. Like you can really see the craft behind it. You can see why it's such a classic. It's easy to dig why everyone goes on about how good it is all the time.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, I'd just never seen it. And I probably never would have because I tend to avoid, quote unquote horror things, even though I didn't find it that scary or anything. But I do avoid those sorts of films because I do get kind of squeamish or, freaked out quite easily. But I'm super glad I watched it because I love things like practical effects. And that movie is kind of like the template of doing practical effects so well, I should say. So, I'm super stoked to have seen that one. I've actually watched it again since then as well, just to refresh my memory.
A horror film is good when it makes the non-horror fan like enjoy it. That is a huge achievement.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think one of the most surprising ones, which I'm not going to say is one of the best ones, but I am looking through our list here at the moment, and one of the most surprising ones that you brought was another horror film of The Invisible Man from 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which again, I kind of avoided because the trailers made it look just like jump scary and horrible and rah.
Right.
But I ended up really enjoying the movie because it's a really interesting kind of sci-fi allegory for domestic abuse and all that kind of thing. And actually, made sense. It wasn't just kind of silly like I thought it would be. It's obviously, a bit exaggerated and a bit of melodrama, but I think it does really well. It makes its points really well. And I really enjoyed it. Like I say, not the best movie ever, but I really enjoyed it. Like it was surprisingly good.
No, I
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I agree with that. I didn't have like too high hopes when I first saw that, but it surprised me as well. Uh, I think you picked Chasing Amy one time, which was a film that I already had on my radar somewhat at the time. But I think only because you picked it for this podcast, I also made the extra work and watched actual Chasing Amy beforehand for the full context.
Yes.
And I think like that whole package was also like a very, very worthwhile experience. Watching them back to back, giving a really, really cool like just package of how we as humans, interact with media as a whole and how that shapes us.
Totally.
Which I probably wouldn't have like done such a deep dive if it wasn't for this podcast, for your recommendation.
Yeah. Well, I think that doco is, just such a great story, which has nothing to do with the movie really, but
Yeah.
like you say, just about people and how we experience things and
Yeah.
how it means different things to different people. And love that one. And likewise, there are a couple of docos that you've brought, like Dear Zachary and Casting John Bonet. Like they were both really good as well, I think. I'm probably never going to watch either of them ever again because they're thoroughly depressing and sad. But that's kind of the point, I guess. That's why they exist. But both were excellently put together and really good docos, and I definitely recommend them to anyone who hasn't seen them.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to force you to watch those depression films. Yeah, those are amazing.
I'd forgotten about Skinnamarink.
Yeah, you loved that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did not enjoy that one much at all.
One of the many mad flops for you, I would say. I also forgot until I looked at this list that you picked Monster Hunter for one episode, which must have been the worst film that I've seen for this.
I mean, I'm kind of with you on that one. It was pretty bad.
Pretty bad. It was horrible.
But I'm not really familiar with the whole creature feature monster movie thing.
Right.
Outside of movies that we've already seen, like the Godzilla series and all that kind of thing, King Kong, blah, blah, blah.
Could have picked those. Although I guess we...
Yeah, but I like doing things that we hadn't seen. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, I guess.
And, I had hopes for Monster Hunter. It looked promising, like a lot of video game movies do. But then it turned out to be a bit of dog shit, so...
Yeah.
I mean, it had Ron Perlman, it had Mila Jovovich. It's like,
I mean, barely. Ron
you'd
Perlman,
think that
barely.
would be good at... well, he was in it.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, those 5 minutes were the best part of the entire film. Anyway.
Speak about films that sell themselves with a major appearance from an actor, but then have them minimally in the film. How about we move on to your movie?
Which actor is selling this one?
Well,
just out of interest.
I watched the trailer for Killing Zoe, which you're gonna go into later on, and they sell it very much as the titular Zoe being much more of an integral part of the plot than she actually is, like that sort of deal. But I guess we can talk about
screen
it
time, sure.
Yeah, screen time majorly. Yeah.
Part of the plot, different, arguable. But anyway, yes.
Sure.
I'm going to talk. Well, we'll go into that because I'm obsessed with this film. So I've got some trivia and stuff for you.
Okay.
Because this is because we're going to talk about Killing Zoe from 1993, which is the film I brought for this one because it's one of my favorite films of all time. And there's a lot of reasons around that. Partly because the story about how it got made and how it was made, and a lot of the technical stuff that went into the film is actually just about as interesting as the film itself in my book. Like, it kind of sells it a little bit harder because there's a lot of depth if you want to get into it, if you're going to be a bit of a film nerd about it. But the film itself I also just love because it's full on and it's violent and it's, crazy and some really great performances, I think, and all that. Anyway, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But for the nuts and bolts, this is directed by Roger Avary. It's also written by Roger Avary. It's his directorial debut. It's the first film he's ever directed. It stars Eric Stoltz, Julie Delpy, who you're talking about, who plays the character Zoe, Jean-Hugues Anglade, who I think is amazing, Tai, Bruce Ramsey, Karios Halem, Salvatore Zwerab, I want to say, and Gary Kemp, who, for those of you playing along, Gary Kemp is one of the Kemp brothers who was in the band Spandau Ballet from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Along with Martin Kemp, his brother. So that's just an interesting thing. He plays this kind of small part, not small part. He's one of the leads, but he plays a part in this odd 1993 film that's kind of a bit of an indie sleeper hit kind of thing. But anyway, the story of the film is that we follow Eric Stoltz, whose character is basically a safecracker criminal, and he's come to Paris on the request of Jean-Hugues Anglade, Eric, his friend, who has set up a bank heist on Bastille Day weekend when all the banks will be closed except for this one, which is like the central big bank of whatever. They've got all the hot money kind of bank. And they get together their team of criminals. It's very indie kind of shot and made. So we tend to stick to the criminals and the group, the bank heist group, more than anything. And we follow them through the night before where they go out partying and enjoying themselves and having fun. And it kind of tells us all about their characters. And then the next following day, they break into the bank and they rob the bank. And, a bloodbath ensues and all this kind of thing. Julie Delpy comes in at the beginning because Eric Stoltz, after he arrives in Paris, he orders a hooker, and she happens to be said hooker who shows up. And they kind of get along and everything. And then later on, when they're heisting the bank, they find that she actually works there during the day in the bank as an employee. Side note, as we're talking about cast and everything, a couple of interesting cameos or bit parts. And you might be able to remember this, Matt, if you don't already know. But when they first enter the bank and start taking hostages, there's a guy sitting behind a desk in an office that the guy with the shotgun shoots. I think he's the first guy.
Yeah.
That's Ron Jeremy, famous porn star actor.
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
And when they're out the night before and they go to this little jazz club underground, there's a woman who approaches Eric Stoltz's character while they're all high on drugs and everything, and she talks about she wants to go home with him and she wants him to treat her like a dog and rah, rah, rah. That is Cecilia Peck, who is the daughter of famous actor Gregory Peck.
Oh.
So she makes a little cameo appearance there with just a little short character. But yeah, before I go into all the background and everything around this film, I think I'd like to hear your thoughts and what you think. Because I have a lot of detail. I got stories.
I'm actually curious to hear them in a second. But yeah, my first impression of this. Now, I think you have mentioned Killing Zoe before over the past 2 years as one of your favorites or something. But other than that, I did not know anything about it or have never heard of it. Okay, it is a bank heist film, which is a fun subgenre that I like to get into sometimes. But other than that, again, on paper, there's nothing here that would draw me personally in. But spoiler alert, I guess. Again, I'm happy that you have made me watch this because I did enjoy it. Though it took a while for me to actually get into this proper. The first act or so with Eric Stoltz's character arriving in Paris, and the first couple of expository character interactions felt very stilted and woody to me, and a bit of a lower grade Tarantino dialogue type where I couldn't really get into the vibe, so to say.
Because you're not really big on Tarantino, are you?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the elements. When I saw in the opening credits executive producer Tarantino, that opened up my eyes. I knew, okay, this is this type of film. I get it. I know why Josh likes this. So yeah, the first couple scenes, still in the hotel room and whatever. Also, when Julie Delpy actually shows up for the first time, didn't really vibe with any of the character interactions much. But as soon as the next day happens, they leave the hotel. We meet this whole group of goons that prepare for the bank heist with their whole drug-addled adventure. It becomes obviously a bit more colorful, a bit more interesting. The whole trip through Paris with their partying and whatever. Maybe a bit too long for my taste because I wanted him to get to the nitty-gritty of the actual plot. But it definitely added more to the atmosphere that I could actually get into and get engaged with. And then when we actually hit the bank, which is like the final 50 minutes or so of the runtime, that is definitely
It's the
where
final
the
act, yeah.
that's definitely where the meat and potatoes are, and that's definitely where I genuinely like got into this film, because here the character interactions, the personality dynamics, and the dialogue actually worked for me. I actually got engaged in these characters. I really liked the pacing of it all. I actually really commend that this film, for long stretches of the runtime, uh, John Hughes Anglade's character's personality kind of overshadows the entire vibe, because he is such a chaotic, destructive, confident, doesn't give a shit about consequences kind of type.
He's such a cool performance, though, isn't it? I think, like,
Yeah.
he's so good.
Again, like, once we get out of the starting hotel scenes, I agree that he is amazing. Early on, I was kind of still didn't really get any of the character motivations early on, but later on, I absolutely agree. He's amazing, and he does do a lot of carrying in this film. And again, his character's personality, uh, colors a lot of the overall atmosphere of the film. And I commend this film generally for breaking this careless, confident atmosphere up every now and then, to actually bring some effective consequences in there for a bit of like, bring you back to reality a little bit. There's a specific scene where they take some of the employee hostages into a corner to make them open the vault, and they don't do it. And John Hughes Anglade's character ends up shooting them nonchalantly, or one of them anyway, first off. And you do genuinely get somber like reactions from the other actors, like really good reactions that actually kind of sober up the atmosphere for a little while. I think if I remember correctly, there's even at that point later on a bit of a like ambiguous like remorse from Anglade's character himself. I feel that you could maybe interpret this way, because his facade crackles a little bit while he moves away from the scene. Like, I liked that sort of stuff, giving a bit more depth to it. But of course, it does go like he puts the mask back on and goes on about his confident work, of course, for the rest of it. But it's those like little holes that they plant in the script that really like make it more memorable, make it more effective. This whole like chaotic vibe. Yeah, the entire bank sequence of this film, which is of course most of this film, was like fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that whole shit. And but since I've mentioned this early on, I guess I'd say a couple more words about that as well. With Julie Delpy's character, who plays titular Zoe. Yes, yeah, sure. She is relevant to the plot. She does have an effect on the plot. But it is minimal. She is not there for the most of like the she doesn't have like a meaningful presence in most of the screen time, is what I'm saying. So which is fine. It works the way it is set up. It totally does what the writer, planned on here. I just found it very funny watching the trailer earlier, where it's genuinely like, this is Eric Stoltz's and Julie Delpy's movie. They are the two protagonists, and it's all about them. And it's just kind of like false advertising, and I wonder why even bother. But that's not taking away from the movie, of course. The movie itself, yeah, I really enjoyed it, especially later on. But okay, so and now you said you have a lot of like knowledge of like the production and whatever, which I'm very curious about. Anyway, so what I know, what I've read myself, maybe I'll start with that before you go into your stuff.
Please do.
I read in the always so trustworthy IMDb trivia that this film this film only came about because they were location scouting for Reservoir Dogs, and they found this bank, and they thought it was a very cool location, but it didn't fit Reservoir Dog. So they, built this film around it instead. What I find fascinating is that this film plays in Paris. I think by the numbers, most characters in this film are French. I would assume so. Native French speakers as well. They sound very, very, authentic. And I was genuinely like convinced this was probably filmed in France. But this bank, like when they went location scouting for Reservoir Dogs, they were not like running around France. This is an American bank. And I
It's
love, yeah. And I love that they went through the like effort to get all of these natively French speaking like actors to fill out this setting. That they even went at all with this being set in Paris, which they had no reason to do. So like, I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think and they really fleshed out so it does feel like it's in Paris. Like, even down to like the bellhop at the hotel is speaking French, and the cab driver starts off speaking French, and it feels like you are actually in France because of the way everyone acts and everyone talks. And yeah, you're right. I think they are all native speakers, if not very fluent. For as much as I know French, which is very little, but yeah, you're absolutely right. This Lawrence Bender, who's basically produces all of Tarantino's films, he was scouting for Reservoir Dogs, and he found this bank, and it was available, and he literally then called everyone he knew and said, "Hey, do you have any scripts or anything that can make a film in this awesome bank that we found?" And Roger Avery, who had written True Romance with Quentin Tarantino together, and he was working on writing Pulp Fiction with Quentin Tarantino as well. So they've got a bit of a relationship there anyway, like working relationship. He decided, yeah, cool. He went down to the bank, had a look at it, went home and wrote a draft of a script over the weekend, and then sent it to Lawrence Bender and everyone else involved. And they're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. And they ended up making the film. I think they had about a 34-day shoot, which was, basically they had a month to shoot it. And that was it, kind of thing. They made the film, and that's that. And there's lots of really interesting stuff around that too, like the actual, I guess, how it was made and put together. And then it ended up winning awards at film festivals and like at Cannes and Sundance and stuff. It won awards. But basically, I think initially it only made about $500,000 when it was first released, but then over its lifetime, it's managed to like break even because they spent about $1.5 million on the film. And so it's never been like a financial success or even much of a critical success. Like it won awards at film festivals, but then after that, no one really got into it. And it ended up becoming this kind of cult classic that it is now. But yeah, still, I think amazing, obviously. So the other thing is you mentioned how, the trailer sells Zoe as more of part of the film and more screen time and all that. And yeah, she kind of bookends the film. Like she's in the beginning and she's in the end, basically. She appears throughout the bank heist, but she doesn't really do much. So it's just her presence is there. And I think, that's just people making trailers who someone probably made it who didn't know anything about the film and just said, this will sell it. Because Julie Delpy had just finished doing, when they made this, she'd just finished doing the Three Colors films, the French films, Red, White, and Blue, which were very, very successful at the time. And there's a funny story behind that as well, because she was considering whether to take Killing Zoe, and she went to like a tarot card reader or someone who convinced her to take the job, basically.
Oh my God.
And that's the only reason she did the film, because of some, reading that she got from a tarot card reader or something. And like I said, Roger Avery was in the middle of writing Pulp Fiction with Tarantino, and he had to kind of stop that to make this film. And so Tarantino kind of finished it off on his own. But Tarantino was on set for this film the whole time as well. And there's, one of the things that comes up in interviews a lot with the actors and everything is when they were making the film, if Tarantino laughed, they kept the shot kind of thing.
Oh, of course.
Like he was kind of like their litmus test in a way.
Yeah.
So he was involved, but not ever really credited. I think he got the producer credit, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he is definitely, there's a bit of Tarantino DNA in it, but not 100%, obviously, because it's way more Roger Avery, of course, because it's his little baby. And yeah, but going back to Zoe not being in it much, it's a bit of one of those kind of like you have to look into it deep to kind of understand it things, because the story goes that Zoe is actually Greek for life, and so it's not about killing the character Zoe, it's about killing life. And how Jean-Yves Anglade's character says the night before, like, tomorrow we rob the bank, tonight we live life. And his whole nihilistic approach to existence is kind of the point of the film. And it's kind of like the hyper-violence and the nihilism of everything is kind of a commentary on the Gen X kind of zeitgeist of the time, and people being not apprehensive, what's the word? Kind of like lazy towards like issues and politics and that sort of thing. And so it has this kind of theme underneath it in that sense. And that's part of the intention anyway. Yes, that is obviously not 100% clear in the film anyway. It's kind of like one of those weird interpretation things.
I think it does come across.
But it kind of explains. Yeah, it explains the title, and I think it does make sense. And you can you get the vibe anyway.
Yeah,
and a lot of the non-bank heist stuff as well is based on Roger Avery's own experiences backpacking in France. Because he basically went backpacking in France and like took a lot of drugs and did a lot of crazy shit, and and like apparently they're like super accurate, a lot of the scenes based on what he did. So they're kind of like first-hand experiences that he's retelling in a way, or that's basically how we got those stories, because he just related these characters into situations that he had been in while he was traveling through France. So it is quite authentic, I think, in that sense, as insofar as it can be when it's a fictional, larger than life kind of story.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the vibes of that night beforehand, when they all kind of get to know each other and you get to learn all the characters and everything, are essentially taken from his own experiences back in the day.
So that explains why they went to the effort of making France in the US. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why. Yeah, that was what I was thinking of as well. Was that's part of why it's set in France. That's one of the main reasons. Like, is because it was directly Avery's experience in France that informed the film essentially, and in so much as it does up until the bank heist kind of thing. There's also really cool. There's some technical stuff which I really get excited about, which is really fun. There's lots of like color theming throughout the film, and it's all red, white, and blue, which is often talked about as a relationship between Eric Stoltz's American heritage and the obviously being in France and it being Bastille Day. The opening of the film, when Eric Stoltz's character arrives, it's very white and grey, and everything's kind of white colored. The middle of the film, when they go out to the jazz club or to the other group's houses and that kind of thing, it's all very blue. Like, notice all the walls are painted blue, all the lighting is blue. It's all very blue. When they hit the bank, everything's red. So all the walls are painted red. There's obviously lots of blood everywhere as well, which adds to the red. And the film kind of creates these three distinct acts with these color palettes. And the tone shifts drastically between each one as well, because it starts off with him being basically like a foreigner in a strange country, kind of getting used to things. And then in the blue act, with all the guys going out for the night, he kind of gets drawn into the culture and of these guys, at least, if not the country, but into the malaise or the nihilism essentially of these characters. And then obviously the red at the end is the big explosion of those forces kind of coming together. And yeah, I just love that sort of thing. That's really, really cool, because they're just a little bit thought beyond just telling the story, like with words and actors. It's also using the sets well and framing things nicely. I kind of appreciate that. And I think that's also reflected a lot in the soundtrack, because the soundtrack does kind of shift throughout the film as well through those acts, where it's by two guys called Tom and Andy, who get credited as Tom and Andy, and they've done lots of films and stuff, especially with Roger Avery after this one. But the soundtrack is it's quite subtle, but the soundtrack during each act is a little bit different. And like you say, that scene where in the final act where they're in the bank and they're shooting the employees to try and get the vault open. Yeah, there's a real kind of, what's the word, like an ambient kind of sad kind of soundtrack in that section of the film, because it's showing the depravity of the characters and the conflict that arises from that, and how each of them kind of deals with it in their own way, and whether it's just total nihilism of, you know, Eric, or if it is with some sort of moral compass that Eric Stoltz has. I always forget his name. Zed, that's it.
Yeah.
But the character Zed, like, he's not a crazy killer or anything. Like, he does have some sort of moral compass and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the character Eric, he definitely has nothing, and he's complete chaos and complete nihilism and does not give a shit about consequences. And it kind of shows quite easily.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's really interesting from a technical perspective is there's an effect that they use, especially during the middle act when they're off their tits on heroin and cruising around Paris, where there's a lot of distortion in the film, and there's some like real soft focus going on and stuff. They were using this brand new technology at the time, which was called auto Newman swing and tilt lenses. I had to look that up. And basically these were brand new cutting edge technology for filmmaking. And because of it depicting the character's distorted vision through being on heroin and, you know, being chaotic and through, you know, all this sort of stuff, they used them to kind of show that while still, you know, filming it kind of normally, but having that distortion, and that there are some really cool shots I like, especially towards the end, where half the frame is almost out of focus and the other half is in, and it kind of shifts in between in and out of focus. And it obviously is a direct kind of very, I think, fairly obvious representation of their state of mind at the time and all that kind of thing. Because there's one bit where Zed has to basically shoot someone, and it's the only time he shoots someone in the whole film, when there's a security guard who's like been badly burned and he's basically dying. So Zed basically mercy kills him by shooting him in the head.
Yeah.
But you can see it really plays on him as a, you know, it's a heavy thing that he's doing. He doesn't take it flippantly. And during that shot, there's some really dynamic lighting and everything. And you can see that the focus kind of like washes over him like a bit of a wave, where it goes in and out of focus. Like he's struggling with this whole thing that he's doing and the consequences of what they've done. And I just love that. It ties in again to the same thing of using the colors on the walls and that kind of thing. Like it's that kind of extra additional bit of filmmaking that I think really excites me, where it completely adds to the story and the storytelling in a way that it could only do it as a film instead of another medium, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I figured like there were a bunch of like little visual quirks throughout the film, so I figured there was one of the draws for you for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess that is one of the things that gives this a sort of a specific atmosphere. I also like this is the thing that also gives it a bit of the Tarantino-esque atmosphere, all these visual ideas, a lot of camera tilting as well, like conscious time camera tilting as things move around, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I can definitely see why this is. It genuinely gives off the right vibe for being a cult film, and how it is like rough around certain edges, but still with a lot of like creativity and craft, like skill and craft. So it generally like does not surprise me that there is a group of people that appreciate this film. Like it is And also at the same time that this is not like one of the most popular films of all time. Like it really falls perfectly into that crack in the middle.
Mm. Well, it's interesting as well because this was Roger Avery's first directorial debut, I guess. They had another director, I forget his name, but on standby basically in case he fucked it up. And so cool. he was kind of constantly being watched in that sense, like and being tested. And even after the film was made, the ratings board refused to give it a rating because it's so violent and
really,
so over the top. So they kicked basically Roger Avery out and brought in an editor to edit it down to make it more safe or whatever, so it could get a rating. But the funny thing is, Avery broke into the editing suite, put all the footage back to how he wanted it.
Shut up.
And yeah. But made it so that the final cut was like a significant amount of frames shorter than the original one. So it never actually got re-reviewed by the ratings board because they just saw that it was shorter, so they figured they'd cut out all the bits.
Fuck off.
And then it got an R rating and it got released. That's legitimately how it happened.
What?
And I hate to say this because it sounds kind of lame, but I think part of what I love about this film is it's so fucking like punk rock that I just love it to bits because it's so like do it yourself, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's truth to the storytelling. There's still craft in the making of it. There's, a satisfying story arc for me anyway, but there's also like real life relations, related stuff in it, like Avery's past. He's talking about real experiences. He's commenting on society at the time as well with the nihilism and the violence. And yeah, all that stuff adds up for me to just being like, fuck yeah, this is a good time. And, and yeah, it's a bit like Rogue in that sense. Like, yeah. It's a cool little indie film.
Just genuine ambition and not wanting to cut any corners for others' sake. Yeah, that's super respectable. Yeah. There's a wild story that you just told. Holy shit!
I know, it's crazy. Like, yeah, he's like, I'm not happy with this, so I'm gonna fucking just literally like broke into the studio and like fixed the film.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but it did win awards at Cannes Film Festival and Sundance, like I said before. And because it was put out at festivals before it was released to the public, like a lot of indie films do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on the judging panel were people like Dennis Hopper and big name actors and stuff who basically really liked it and gave it awards. So I don't know, that counts for something maybe.
Yeah, it probably really is. But it probably really also is just a filmmaker's film. I'm sure like filmmakers appreciate this even more than general audiences.
Totally.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and there's lots of stuff you can get into, like even down to the masks that they wear during the heist. Like each one of those was picked by the character or the actor playing the character that most suited their character. So they're all there's a reason behind each one of the masks and what they look like. Where the guy who did get burned in the vault, where he got blown up in the vault, that special effects makeup is done by a dude whose name I forget at the moment, but he's done lots of special effects, and you'd probably know him if I mentioned him.
Yes, Tom Savini. Yeah, I noticed that in the credits, and I was like, yeah, okay, hell yeah, they got the big names. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
So like, and there's lots of reports that everyone like really enjoyed making this movie as well. Like it was heaps of fun, and they just like had a good time. Like it was good for the actors, it was good for the crew. They were just having a great time making a fun film, because I think also it was pretty low stakes as well. Like they're all just doing it because they want to, and they want to make it kick ass because they want to. It's not some big planned thing. It's like they turned the script around in like a week. They had a month to shoot it. It's like bish bash bosh, there you go, it's all done. So there's no time to like get caught up in all that bullshit of marketing or thinking about it too hard. Just kind of going, yep, this is right, this is what the character do, off we go. And just kind of almost like a bit of guerrilla filmmaking in a way. Like
yeah. Anyway, guerrilla editing, especially.
I've talked enough of that. Well, definitely.
Yeah. What a
that
concept.
kind of like is the vibe of the film. Yeah.
Yeah, that rules. I get totally why you love this film so much. That's cool. More than a bunch of other Josh favorites. With this one, I get it. Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, and I've been obsessed with this one for a long time. Like, it came out in '93, and I was in like grade 6 at the time, so I didn't see it straight away, obviously. But
I was in my mom's womb, dog.
I think I saw it in about 1995, maybe, when I went to high school, and yeah, I probably shouldn't have because it's way too violent for a kid. But
right.
Hey, maybe I turned out all right. I don't know. Anyway, what rating would you put on this one?
I think this is gonna be a clean 8 out of 10. Like,
nice.
Definitely not any lower. I really enjoyed this when it like actually, managed to pick me up and draw me in. And all this background shit that you tell me, like, actually makes me respect it even more.
Well, and I think just on that as well, like the reason I still love it, because, surprise, surprise, I give it like 5 out of 5.
Right.
No question there. I love it. I literally have watched this more times than I can remember. And I think that's part of it too. I'll be the first one to say when anyone says to me, "Oh, well, you got to watch it a few times to really get it." It's like, fuck off. I should be able to just watch it once and enjoy it. I do think that this is a film that gives more the more times you watch it.
Sounds like
because there is a lot of thought that goes into everything, like even the opening scenes and everything, which you say are a bit of a drag. And I agree with you. I can understand that as well. I don't think you're wrong in that at all. But when you do have the context of the whole film and you see those opening scenes, it kind of like, okay, like this kind of sinks a bit more and you kind of realize what they're trying to do a bit more. Doesn't mean it makes it any better or worse, I guess, but just something to think about, perhaps. I don't know.
Gives it a bit more depth and value. Yeah, I could totally see that for sure.
But yeah, that's Killing Zoe. I think I've patted on about that too long. I could talk about it all night. There's even more stories about just crazy shit that happened. But anyway,
Wow.
Julie Delpy sounds like a fucking crazy, awesome person to work with.
Okay.
And Jean-Hughes Anglais as well. Like he was very much a joker on set as well, and so he used to fuck around heaps, and he'd like run around singing and dancing with his hair in pigtails and stuff. Like,
oh my god,
just it was like a manic kind of film to make and just crazy, and everyone was over the top. But I think that just adds to it. So
yeah, I was about to say that would very, very well flow into the actual product. Yeah.
You kind of pick up on that vibe, I think. So.
Yeah.
But yes, tell us, Matt, about the film that I've heard lots about from you, and I'm glad I finally got to watch.
Yeah, we're gonna move on from Zoe to Joey, because my pick for this Dealer's Choice episode, this finale, is the eternal legendary classic that is Joe's Apartment from 1996. The first ever MTV Films production.
Really?
Yeah. From what I know, at least. And it was not a success. But so the stats. First, directed and written by John Payson, who, from my knowledge, has never done anything else in the filmmaking business. This is a feature-length film based on a short film that he made, apparently, which I've read has aired on MTV during commercial breaks or whatever, and I guess that is why it eventually became a feature-length film. I've never seen the short, though. No idea about that. This feature-length movie stars Jerry O'Connell and Megan Ward, Sheikh Mahmoud Bey, Jim Sterling, Sandra Pepper Denton, Robert Vaughn, and as some voices for the Roaches, Billy West, Reginald Hudlin, and Dave Chappelle, even, among other people.
Yeah. I did not realize.
Me neither, honestly. This is a film about a young and spry, up and coming young man played by Jerry O'Connell, who moves to the big New York City to start his own life after moving out from his parents' place, and like really motivated to get shit going and build himself up. though he immediately runs into struggle after struggle, gets robbed, doesn't find a proper place to stay at. New York City is beating him down in a comedic fashion, left and right, and he ends up in a incredibly rundown shit apartment full of filth, that is inhabited by hundreds and millions of talking, joking, singing cockroaches. And it all becomes about their relationship. Will they be friends? Will they be enemies? Will they kill each other? Where is his life gonna lead with this uh, horde of bugs around his feet? It's basically it. And so my reasoning for bringing this here, this is definitely a film that I have frequently thought about or tried to put into a previous episode, though it never like truly fit. I was always hoping that the Wheel of Fate would hit the musical subject, where I could then bring this on, which of course did not happen. So I'm glad I got this excuse now here. And like you frequently said to me that you hate musicals, so of course I wanna torture you. Although I guess this is not the kind of musical that you truly hate, so I guess this is not like, I'm not expecting to have the greatest effect in that sense for you. But we'll see.
Yeah.
The this is so that's one reason why I was wanting to bring it. The other reason is that this is generally like a formative film for me. I have watched this many times when I grew up. I'm still watching this every now and then as an adult. And like I am well known among people as a cockroach fan. That's one of my favorite animals for multiple reasons. And this is definitely one of the major pieces of media that have started that as well. I really respect and love the animal of the cockroach because they are such a poster child of just resilience among trash. You know, literally resilience, dealing with the filth that they are having to live with, but not giving up just inherently by the nature of their being. And this film, I think, picks that up perfectly in a comedic sense because all of these singing, joking roaches just completely like give out this going on despite the hardships through the power of jokes. You know, they deal with this shit world by singing their way through it, and that is like my favorite kind of vibe. That is like what I aspire to do, what I aspire to be. And I think this film really encapsulates that well with a really well paced comedy. There's lots of really, really fun visual gags around these filthy environments of the rundown apartment and like New York City as a whole. There's some fun, little bits of practical effects with how the roaches animate their environment. Apparently, there's also CGI use for these cockroach characters, and apparently they used the same tech as for Jurassic Park and Terminator 2, which I find very funny because, of course, those two movies were like major CGI like milestones, and then this got used for this stupid MTV Roach film in the same like 2 years later. And of course, there's a musical, although it is never like trying to. It's not a melodramatic musical. It's very much a jokey musical where the stupidity of the songs is part of the deal. I think that is probably also where it's gonna make it more bearable for you. For me, these songs are so like burned into my brain. I frequently have them stuck in my head. Funky Towel is coming up very often when I take a shower. Uh, and it's just one of the most charming films, one of the most like cozy feel good films that I can think of for myself, despite it being like set in crime riddled New York City, full of violence and vulgarity and filth and whatever. It just manages to still have an overall like message and vibe of uh we can make this good, we can make this nice for ourselves. We just need to be resilient and have some jokes on our lips. Plus, of course, the added bonus of all the lore of the cockroach world that we as humans don't know about. I will always love that sort of shit. So I I'm very curious to hear what you thought about this. I don't know any of this like necessarily speaks to your tastes, but maybe I'm wrong. Give me your impressions.
Well, I mean, first of all, I like Jerry O'Connell, so that's a good start.
Right. Okay, that's true. We have talked about that before. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Jerry O'Connell. I think he's cool. I like his style. I'm always bummed that he's not in more things, or at least more things that I've seen, I guess. Because I think he's worked quite a bit, but nothing like major that I've seen or anything. But anyway, as far as, to touch on the musical thing first, I forgot that you'd said that this was a musical when I watched it. And I guess, yeah, like you said, I wouldn't put it in the group of like musicals in the same way that you'd have other musicals. I'd put this more in, this to me is more like a kid's film that has songs in it, you know? Like,
sure,
it's not quote unquote a musical. It's just there's some songs, and in the same way that there would be in, I don't know, like Happy Feet or something. I haven't even seen that film, so I don't know.
Oh, God.
But not as integral to the story, I guess. Like there's bits to it, obviously, but it's more for the fun, not so much for the earnest expressing of emotions or anything like there is in other musicals.
Yeah.
So to that end, I didn't mind it so much. The thing I didn't like, I guess, that didn't work for me or didn't land is the voices for the cockroaches.
Oh,
because it's kind of a pet peeve of mine that every animal's voice is like someone's voice, but just pitched higher, and that kind of annoys me. And I find that a little bit annoying because it's just a little bit annoying. However, I have to say, despite that, I did enjoy the film. It's very silly. It's very, dumb entertainment comedy, but I laughed. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. I thought the animation actually that you mentioned, like, I think that held up quite well. It's dated in certain ways, and especially in certain scenes. Like the first time that the bad guys kind of take the blanket off Jerry O'Connell's face and he's covered in roaches. Like that effect looked pretty bad, but it got the point across.
Yeah.
The good thing was all the, again, like the practical stuff where one of the things in the film is that there's obviously roaches hiding everywhere. So when they're talking, they kind of move wherever they are. So if they're like behind a picture, the picture starts moving, or if they're in a glove, the glove starts moving, or you know, whatever they're doing or wherever they are, when they talk, the thing that they're in moves. And that looked like practical stuff where they've actually got those things moving and things. And there were some scenes where the whole apartment, like everything's moving at the same time and it's being a bit chaotic and stuff to show where all the roaches are. That stuff worked really well. And it actually, I think they did a good job. And I can appreciate the effort involved in that too. Like, because that's no easy feat.
I always wanted to live in an apartment like that.
That's what it's. I don't dislike it. I really did like it. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. I hesitate because it's like, it's nothing amazing to me. It's nothing that I'm probably not going to watch it again. I enjoyed it, and that's enough. And see you later. Just like other silly comedies like it, And it was fun. It was dumb, but it was entertaining. It was only like an hour and a quarter as well, which is kind of nice. I like a film that doesn't overstay its welcome. So
For sure.
That was good. The bad guys and the drama and the story is over the top and stupid and unrealistic.
Oh,
but in a good way. Like, and there's loads of films at the time that kind of had that same vibe. I don't know if I do wonder if they make films like that anymore. That's just dumb funny. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I'm not trying to insult the film by saying it's dumb funny, because I feel like modern comedies almost like fall over themselves trying to be really clever and trying to always have like a second meaning to the jokes and like really dry wit or something. And it just often it can come across as just a bit too try hard. Whereas this is just straight up we're making a dumb, funny film. That's great.
Well, it does have the thing of very, very on the nose being like, even beautiful things grow out of shit because there's the whole like uh,
Yeah.
planting a nice garden for the community deal and using horse manure from the street to use it or whatever. So there is that conscious theming, at least, in that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I think it's interesting that obviously this affected you in such a way that it
Yeah.
it added to your interest in cockroaches and whatever.
Yeah.
And the kind of things they do in their lives and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I had cockroaches as pets in terrariums previously throughout my life, and I did have my last favorite roach that I had was called Rodney after one of the major roaches in this film.
I
Like,
noticed that when he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm Rodney," I'm like, "Oh, that's like Matt's Rodney."
and Jerry O'Connell through his his personal Twitter account did once like a picture of Rodney with me asking for Joe's apartment too. So maybe there's a shot that someday we will get that.
Hell yeah! Interesting. I was looking
Surely.
up some stats on Joe's apartment, and it was quite a flop from what I
Yeah.
gather.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that's okay. It's interesting that you said it's MTV's first film, because that doesn't surprise me so much, because it feels, in hindsight, it feels kind of MTV-ish as far
Yeah.
as, it, and again, not a bad thing, but just it's got that vibe of that big over the top kind of bombastic kind of comedy that you'd expect from something like that, I suppose.
For sure.
And it's a shame that all the roaches had their voices changed, because I didn't recognize those voices that you mentioned, which I probably would have. And yeah, it would have, I guess that's part of why I don't like voice changes and stuff, is because just everyone ends up sounding the same. And like the actual cockroach characters themselves, I found I couldn't tell apart very easily. They were just all the same character to me.
Yeah, which I don't even think like you're supposed to be able to tell them apart anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, they are a swarm of roaches. They're kind of all
Yeah.
one.
And that's what I mean. Like, maybe I'm overthinking it anyway, because it is a big dumb comedy. So, I don't feel like there is much intentional depth or anything, which is totally cool because it's still very entertaining.
Yeah.
And again, Jerry O'Connell does a great performance. I think he's the perfect guy for the role too, because he's got that kind of just bit of a blank vibe about him in a way. Like, and again, I mean that nicely. It might sound like backhanded, but it's actually a good thing for this role. and I like the dude the artist friend that he makes at the beginning, and then who he ends up playing for in the band and all that kind of thing. That dude's funny as well. Like, just as a character, just those wacky kind of characters that make up something. And I like the whole, there's always some sort of message that goes in there as well in these sorts of movies, like with him trying to figure it out with the girl he's in love with and all that kind of thing. And,
of course.
And accepting his cockroach friends, and that they're actually really good and they can help him out, and, rah, rah, rah. And yeah, it's just cool in that sense. It's, big, dumb, and fun.
Exactly. Big, dumb, and fun. Good vibes all around.
So yeah, I definitely did enjoy myself, and I'm glad I finally watched it, because I've definitely heard about it before.
Yeah, probably just from me though, right? Like,
no.
Nobody talks about this.
No, I've definitely seen posters for it before and everything. Yeah,
that is an iconic poster. Now you are a music man, so I need to ask. Yeah, you are a music man, so I need to ask, what was your favorite song? And you have to pick one.
Honestly, I can't remember them. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to them and was like, okay, cool, but then I moved on pretty quick. Like, they're not anything that stuck in my head. I'm sorry. I know I'm not going to be singing them while I'm in the shower or anything. So yeah,
breaking my heart once again.
I'm sorry. I'd have to watch it again if I was going to remember any songs.
Okay,
I got nothing for you. I'm sorry.
My pick is the Funky Towel, as I mentioned before. It's a very good. So Funky Towel is a song they sing in the bathroom, and there's like a lot of prominent shots of the dirty ass toilet bowl as they do their like synchronized swimming activities. And I was just thinking, how far we have come. Wasn't Psycho the first ever film that had a toilet in the movie? And now we have
actually
singing,
on screen.
dancing roaches around a toilet bowl. Like, man,
That's the evolution
exists.
of cinema right there.
Yeah, that is the evolution of cinema.
From Psycho to Joe's apartment.
Yeah, Psycho.
100%.
Psycho walked so Joe's apartment could run. That is it. That is a fact.
One thing I do appreciate in this film of talking cockroaches is that they didn't try and humanize them too much. Like, they were very much roaches. Like, they didn't have them having, like, other than a few jokes where they had like a TV show with one of the roaches having like a round table with other animals and stuff, which was pretty funny. And
it was dope. Yeah.
But I like that even though they are humanized a little bit because they're, talking cockroaches, for the most part, they act like cockroaches. They look like cockroaches. They're not wearing clothes. They're not, living in houses that look like miniature human houses or anything.
Yeah, fuck that.
They're just doing their thing. But I like that because I fucking hate when the opposite happens in films. Like, and because it's like, oh, this is just fucking stupid. But
I would have not liked this movie either as much if they were like actual like humanized clothing wearing creatures. That would suck ass. I want them to be the real
obviously
deal.
it's it's a stretch anyway because they're all just talking to the dude but I don't know. I think I would find them very annoying to live with.
I mean, probably at some point, but I don't know. Growing up, I always hoped I would find my own horde of singing roaches. That would make me very happy.
Yeah.
But I kept with the non-singing ones, and that was good too. I appreciate those.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. I still think Jerry O'Connell is underrated and should do more and be more.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, we can definitely agree. He's a charming ass fella.
Yeah, like he just seems like a good dude, and I think he's got some good comic chops as well. Like his timing and because he did not so much. I don't want to say carry, but he's definitely doing a lot of lifting in that film because his reactions and everything to the roaches, obviously could make it or break it, I guess, and he definitely made it. I think because he leaned into the absurdity of it all and ran with it, which I think was great.
Now, so since we both love Jerry O'Connell, and this is the final episode of Subjectively Correct, I do have to one last time tell you to watch Kangaroo Jack because it is a Jerry O'Connell film, and you will probably love it. Just obligatory mention of that masterpiece.
I think I actually have seen like part of Kangaroo Jack, and that's enough for me to know I don't need to see the rest. Because it's got that other dude in it as well. What's his name? He's kind of funny. I like him.
You probably think of Anthony Anderson. That's the protagonist
Anthony Anderson,
friend.
Yeah.
Like even Christopher Walken and Michael Shannon. It's a star-studded movie. I don't know why you don't love it already. Like a kangaroo.
Put it this way. Let me tell. I can tell you a quick story about films with animals on the cover, which I might have mentioned a long time ago. But when I was younger and in school, and one of my oldest friends, who I'm still friends with now, we used to hang out a lot on the weekends, and we'd go down to the video store and rent some videos or some movies or something. And we have, even though we're really good friends, we have very different movie tastes. And basically, she'd always pick up something that has an animal on the cover, and it would be shit.
No.
And I'd always want some like fucking stupid art house piece of crap as well. So I've seen a lot of like crap kids films about animals doing stuff like Kangaroo Jack, but I'm talking like, Dunstan Checks In and the one with the seal.
Oh God,
and
no.
Any number of films with a dog on the cover. I've probably seen it. And yeah, that was like the trade-off. We each picked a film and we'd have to watch both of them. Kind of like what you and I are doing here, but in a more real life sense where we'd actually sit down together and watch them.
And I keep bringing the animal movies.
Yeah. So a film like Kangaroo Jack, I see the cover and I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Oh man.
kangaroo with a hoodie and some sunglasses on. I'm like, I've seen versions of this film. I don't need more.
I see your love for Jerry O'Connell has limits. That's a shame.
I mean, I am thinking about it just because he's in it, but
yeah, as you should.
But like I said, I think I have actually. I feel like I've seen it. I just forget it. I don't know.
You wouldn't forget Kangaroo Jack. Anyway, okay, that was
the most Australian thing about that film.
About this.
Is it has an actor called Bill Hunter in it, who's in every single Australian film. But anyway, off we go. Back to
back to roaches. So, the final question: what numerical rating would you give this roach fest?
Yeah.
1 star for each roach.
Interestingly, I think in the film he said something like there's 30,000 roaches in the house or in the apartment, which I thought was interesting, like because they didn't just go for the hyperbolic like millions or something. They actually tried to give it like a realistic number or something. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
which is funny.
Yeah,
and I'm just looking at Jerry O'Connell's filmography. He's been working right up to today, so he's still going. He's doing a lot of TV and stuff.
Good on him. Yeah,
he's doing it. He's a working man. Yeah, he's been very busy. Anyway, it's going to sound bad, but 3 stars out of 5. I'd probably push it to 7 out of 10. Like it's more of a 3.5 out of 5. If I could rate 3.5, I don't know if I can or not. I can, can't I? Yeah, I'm thinking letterbox
definitely
rankings
can.
Here.
Yeah, 7 out of
definitely 3.5 then. Yeah,
that would be a very respectable number. I have no complaints with that. If you give it that,
yeah, like
I
feel like
very happy.
That's exactly where it lands for me. Because, like I say,
I'm very happy you got something out of it.
I really enjoyed it. I'm up for a dumb comedy that just is entertaining, and like I say, very much doesn't outstay its welcome. If this was like a 2-hour film, I might be talking a different story.
That would be absurd.
Well, you'll be surprised. There are some comedies like this that do kind of last fucking ages. But this one was good. It got to the point pretty quick, got, straight into the story, didn't muck around, introduced new characters pretty quickly, gave the arc. You knew it was going to happen, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It was fun to get there, and it was entertaining to watch. So, no complaints. I'm happy.
Me too. I think this is probably the best.
You would give it?
I mean, I think this is probably I've seen a bunch of roach movies, of course, and this is actually probably the best, most favorable depiction of cockroaches in a film I've ever seen. So I respect it for that alone. Yeah, like I said, this is a hugely like appreciated film for me that it just covers me like a cozy blanket. I keep going back to it. It has had a significant effect on my growing personality throughout the years. Like previously, I have actually only given it like 9 out of 10 stars, but I think again, as so often with these discussions we have as part of the podcast, I think I'm ready to actually accept that this is one of my favorite things ever, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 rating. Although I still I agree with you that this is definitely not a perfect production, as like some things have aged badly, some things didn't really need to be there, I would even say. But I guess just on a personal level, this has done enough for me to warrant a 10 out of 10 rating.
Well, and I think it bears saying that, of course, any movie I've rated 10 out of 10, I don't necessarily think is the perfect movie. I might think, I might actually say that, and for me, it might be the perfect movie. Doesn't mean that if someone else gives it a 2, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Like, I get it. It doesn't have to resonate with everyone. That's why I don't mind giving things 10 out of 10. Like, I've watched some or read some reviews and stuff where they're like, we can never give it a 1, we could never give it a 10 because that's just ridiculous. I'm like, nah, man, this is like top tier for me, so it's 10 out of 10. Like Killing Zoe is one of the best films ever in my view. I fucking love it. I watch it all the time. It's just like cinema perfection for me. Hence 10 out of 10. Or like your history with Joe's Apartment. Like, it's obviously been a big part of your life and like had a bit of really kind of been a big part of your movie life as well, and been quite influential perhaps too. So, rock on. 10 out of 10 for that from you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
and after
I'm all for the 10s.
For sure. And after all, we are all subjectively correct.
Hey.
And now, cue the applause. Pull the curtains. That's it.
Hang on. We are on Discord.
Oh, God.
Where's this soundboard?
The Discord sounds are not going to be recorded, though. Keep that in mind. Oh,
true, actually, yeah.
Well, there was a Discord.
I did just do a golf clap for everyone who can't hear, which is everyone, because I'm not going to edit it in either, so,
The biggest efforts for this finale of this epic project.
Yeah. But I'm glad that we got to end it on a couple of movies that we both love in our own way.
Yeah.
And or are important to us. And, as always, I'm super keen for any listeners, if you've got things to say about Killing Zoe, or I'm sure Joe's Apartment for Matt, or, any of the films that we talk about, please do bring them up, because, whenever anyone has kind of even come in much later and said, oh, I really fucking hated that film or whatever, I always get a kick out of it. So, yeah,
for
please
sure.
do.
Yeah.
Just, it's always interesting, especially for things that I know a few people do actually kind of keep up with the podcast and watch the films that we're watching as well. So that's always fun, just to know that what you think of them.
Definitely.
But I think
the
both from sorry, go.
I was just gonna say the project might be over, but we will still be accepting complaints.
Yeah, we'll retroactively address them. But I think I speak for Matt as well to say, when I say thanks everyone for listening and
for sure,
coming along for the journey, and hopefully finding something interesting or entertaining about it, perhaps that would be cool. Otherwise, why are you still here? So,
and on the same note, I apologize if you watched any of my fucked up recommendations in some of these episodes. Sorry about that. Anyway,
I'm not apologizing. I'm glad that everyone watched any film that I suggested.
I don't think you have anything to apologize. You didn't bring real corpses or some dumb shit like I did. So
yeah, but there was a few that you really didn't like, definitely.
Sure, yeah.
So swings and roundabouts. I'm sorry for Monster Hunter.
I'm so glad you say this.
That's
really
what I get for not having seen the film beforehand as well. Because if I had seen that, I wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, I kind of want to see this. God. So yeah, why not?
Despicable.
Anywho.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That is it, folks. 2 years of this. 2 years of rambling coming to a close.
Yeah.
And I will never watch another movie ever again.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. It's all TV shows for me now. I'm going to stick to reality TV.
Oh my God. Yeah. New season of MILF Manor coming up. That's reality TV.
I don't even know what that is. Fuck me. MILF Manor? Fuck.
Yeah. It's a crazy reality TV show. We should start a podcast about that.
There was one I saw. Well, maybe. There was one I saw. It was. Is that the one with the mums and their kids?
Yes, exactly.
Sons?
And then they date all across each other. It's awesome.
There's a bunch of young dudes and there's a bunch of old ladies. And the dudes are all the sons of the ladies, but they're getting it on with the other ladies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's awesome.
Peak
That's just the first season too.
Media,
the second season, they throw some more twists and turns. I think it's actual one of the most fascinating reality TV productions I've ever seen. It's crazy out there. I'm glad we are talking about this now for no reason. Yeah.
Hit Matt up on Discord or something and he'll give you his review of MILF Manor.
For sure.
Desperate for some more Matt media opinions.
Okay. I don't think anybody is.
After the void left by the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I'd like to say as well, thank you to Matt. This has been fun. Just shooting the shit about movies with you.
Thank you for watching these films with me. Yeah.
Ultimately, it's just been fun to do. So that's it. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we done?
I think we are done. Goodbye, everybody.
Right. Yeah. See you not later.
Exactly. Never again.
Peace out, y'all.
Yo. Recording stopped.